Hey, I know you can read the title, so let's not waste any more time and get into it. The first mistake you want to avoid is converting power slugs into power shards too early, or at least too many slugs into power shards too early before you research production amplifier. And the reason why production amplifier is so important is that it doubles the amount of whatever you produce in a constructor, an assembler, or a manufacturer. You can find this under the alien technology tree in the MAM. And it does take a bit to get to, but it is well worth it. If you go over here and you see that typically blue power slugs will be providing only 7.5 per minute, but if we put the summer sloop in here after we research that technology, it goes to 15 per minute, essentially doubling the amount of power shards that you can get from the map organically. This is a very strong thing to have, and ideally you want to avoid turning all your slugs into power shards too early before you can double the amount. Second mistake is not using foundations. Foundations allow for better organization of production lines, allows for snapping, leveled buildings, and a full view of your buildings if you're on the surface of that foundation. As you can see here, it just looks like a mess. There's a lot going on. It is a bit disorganized. But if we look at a nice example of where we use foundations, we could see everything is nice and neat. The conveyor belts are snapped perfectly, and everything looks like it lines up. You can actually see when you build something, you could line it up exactly where you want it, and it will snap to the grid of the foundation. It's very nice compared to just building it flat onto the ground. You can line things up, but it is just a bit harder because things don't snap. You could see the difference here clearly, that things will snap on a foundation compared to just the ground. So do get in the habit of building on foundations. It's a bit of a hassle at first, but it does make things well worth it in the end. The next mistake I see is people not rushing coal power generators in tier 3. This allows you to have a huge step up in power, and it takes away from the fact that you don't have to do any more manual labor to gather biomass. It can be a big pain in the butt to have to go out there and use your chainsaw if you have it to collect biomass like trees and leaves and wood, or even collecting it from the ground because you want to make biomass or solid biomass. Having the physical labor of actually collecting the wood and leaves to turn them into biomass, and then also turning that biomass into solid biofuel, takes away from progress in your game and ultimately takes away from the main storyline. Having coal power allows you to focus on other things like exploration or expanding your production lines. Coal power is completely automated once you have a coal power generator and water extractor set up. You find a coal resource node and you just shoot the coal over to the coal power generators as well as the water, and it makes power for you without having you to do anything else. And the last mistake I see new players making is ignoring belt and pipe throughput. New players will often mix conveyor belts or don't upgrade them at all, choking production. This is a perfect example, although an exaggerated example because we go from MK1 belt. You're choking your production because it's immediately going to where it needs to be, but you have this one MK1 belt that's slowing down. The pipes can also cause bottlenecks if the fluid throughput isn't balanced correctly. So make sure that you're upgrading your belts and pipes before your production slows down. It's a very easy thing to do, and all you have to do is select the belt that you want and then just click it with the left click, and it's automatically upgraded. And just like that, we're back in business. Well, that's it for this video. Hopefully you were able to determine if you were making some of these mistakes, or perhaps you were able to identify that you were going to make this mistake sooner or later. In any case, hopefully you're able to correct it, and hopefully this video helped you. If it did, I'd greatly appreciate a like, and if you want to see more content like this, I would greatly appreciate a subscribe because it helps out the channel tremendously. And as always, I'll see you next time, and have a good one.